Hello, this is part two of finding derivatives by applying chain rule. So we're going to finish the last two examples by applying chain rules. So let's look at example 6. What do we have here? We have y equals sine and then parentheses. This should be all in parentheses. Sine of square root of 1 plus cosine x. So how do you take the derivative using the chain rule? So if you want to use the rule, that's perfectly fine. So the rule for it's the third one I'm going to use, which is this. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to first determine your f and what is your u. So your f is pretty much sine of x, and then f prime is positive cosine x. And then your u is this whole thing, the square root 1 plus cosine. So your u is square root of 1 plus cosine of x. And then du dx is the derivative u. So how do you take the derivative of u? Basically, you take the chain rule again. So the square root of 1 plus cosine x is just take the derivative of regular radical, take the derivative of radical x or square root. That's 1 over 2. And then your x is this whole thing, right? So all I did was I just took the derivative of this. And then you apply the chain rule. So you take the derivative of 1 plus cosine x, which is the derivative of 1 is 0. The derivative of cosine x is negative sine x. Okay, so du dx is actually negative sine x over 2 square root of 1 plus cosine x. Okay. Now what you're going to do is put it in this rule. So your final answer will be y prime equals f prime of u. So it's going to be cosine, and then it says u instead of x. So our u, we said, was square root of 1 plus cosine x times it by du dx, which is negative sine x over 2 square root of 1 plus cosine x. So your final answer will be y prime equals to negative sine x cosine parentheses square root of 1 plus cosine of x, and then it's all over 2 square root of 1 plus cosine x. Okay, I don't know if that helps, but yeah, I think that this part right here, the du dx, is a bit tricky because you had to take the chain rule again. Okay, so this is your final answer. Okay, go ahead and press pause to write down the work, and then we can move on to the last example. Okay, let's move on to the next example. Oops. So here's example 3. example 7, and this is the last one. So it says find the derivative by prime chain rule. So we have y equals cosine cube of sine parentheses sine 2x. So this one you might have to take the chain, apply the chain rule 3 times. I know that sounds kind of weird. 3 times chain rule. But first, what I'm going to do is, this is what throws off a lot of people. It's this cosine cube. So to make your life easier, I'm going to rewrite this. This problem right here is equivalent to saying bracket cosine parentheses sine 2x parentheses bracket and then to the 3rd power, right? Okay, so let's apply chain rule. So if you want to do if you solve this problem, what you would do is like, you're going to apply not the chain rule, but you also have to apply the power rule. So you're going to do the power rule. So let's just do the rule. So this is one of the chain rules. I know I read it like more than once, but so let's figure out our u. Let's figure out our f. So I think our u is this one's. It's slightly different from example 6. Our u is actually this whole thing, the inside bracket. So u is cosine parentheses sine, and then there should actually be another parentheses here, but you don't have to. I think I'll just do that to write it to make it easier. So du dx is pretty much the derivative of this. How do you find du dx? You apply the chain rule literally twice. And then what would be my f? My f is, let's just use, since we're doing u substitution, it would be this whole u. So we'll just call it u to the 3rd. And then f prime is pretty simple. It's just 3u squared because we just apply power rule. So this part is a bit tricky. So we're going to apply the chain rule. So first, to apply the chain rule, you have to take the derivative of cosine. So the derivative of cosine is negative sine. Leave the inside parentheses alone for right now. Then what you do is take the derivative of the inside. So you take the derivative of sine of 2x. So this is where you have to take the chain rule again. So what is the derivative? What is the derivative of sine of 2x? That is chain rule. So you got to take the derivative of sine, which is what is the derivative of sine? It is positive cosine. Leave the inside alone. Leave the inside parentheses alone, and then you take the derivative of the inside parentheses, which is the derivative of 2x is 2. So when you take the derivative of sine of 2x, it's actually going to be 2 cosine of 2x, right? And if you want to clean that up, what you could do is bring the coefficient in front. So 2 times -1 would be -2. Sine 2x cosine of 2x. Okay. What do you do next? Then you just put it in this formula. So you could say y prime f prime. So f prime is 3u squared, but you're going to replace u with this whole thing. So if you want, you could put brackets, because u is cosine sine of 2x, and then square that whole thing, times it by du dx, which is -2 sine parentheses 2x cosine of 2x. And then if you want to put it all together, you could combine the coefficients. So 3 times -2 is -6. So your final answer is -6 cosine square sin of 2x sin 2x and then cosine. Okay, that was a long one, but we did it. Okay, so go ahead and press pause to write down the work if you're missing any steps. And the next video should be a quiz. Okay, I'm gonna go now. Thank you. Bye-bye.